Hello everybody, Cindy Greenway here, Editor-in-Chief at lawmarketing.com, and today we're joined by Chris Dreyer to talk about the recent Penguin 5.0 update. What we're going to learn is what was this update, how it affects you, and what you can do to recover. For those of you that don't know Chris, he is the president and founder of attorneyrankings.org, and at Attorney Rankings, they specialize specifically on internet marketing services just for attorneys. So Chris, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So let's talk about this recent update. There's always talk about Penguin and Panda and what it is and what it doesn't, and it's a little technical. So let's bring it down to sort of common terms. Start with telling us what this update was all about.
Okay. Well, on October 4th, Matt Cutts announced that there would be an algorithm update, a data refresh, if you will, that checked against web spam, and it's called the Penguin algorithm. They call it Penguin 5.0 if you see it on the search engines. Basically, what that checked was it checked for webmasters that were breaking the Google quality guidelines, and two examples that he referenced were keyword stuffing, and the other one was using anchor text too frequently from off-sites. Okay. And what I mean by the first, keyword stuffing, is it's using, if you're trying to rank for Chicago injury attorney, using that exact phrase too frequently in the content, possibly in the title tags, meta tags, alt text, basically in the code of the content. And the other one is if you get a link from an external website and you're using that same anchor text, Chicago injury attorney, too frequently, then you may get a penalty.
Okay. So how would an attorney know whether they were penalized by this last update?
Well, two of the main methods to check are absolutely number one is if you have Google Analytics installed and you notice from the 4th or 5th October, if you see a dramatic drop in traffic, you may have been hit. It's the same way for rankings. If you have rank tracking set up from, a number of sources, My SEO Tool, there's a ton of them, Bright Local. If you notice a big drop in rankings around that time frame, the 4th or 5th of October, you could have been penalized.
Okay. So if you don't notice a big drop, then you can breathe a sigh of relief. You're okay. But if you did, what can you do to recover from that?
Well, one of the biggest things that you can do is, kind of diversify the use of keywords that you're using within your content. You can use synonyms, plural versions, reorganize the order. For example, you could say attorney or law firm or lawyers, instead of just saying attorney every single time. Also, another big way to avoid it is if you have a lot of images, pay very special or close attention to this and make sure you're not using too many keywords in those images. And you can actually just remove some entirely to clean up your keyword density. The other thing that you can do when you're acquiring backlinks from other external websites is try to acquire branded links, the name of your firm, instead of just always targeting keywords. And another way that you can do this is get what's called a naked URL, where essentially there's no anchor text. It's just the URL. Well, it is linked, but there's no phrase. It's just the link of your URL that passes through do follow.
Okay. And do you have any information around how long approximately it takes to fully recover if you have been penalized?
That's a very good question. If you did get a manual penalty in your Google Webmaster Tools, after you take some extreme efforts and document it, you can submit a reconsideration request, and they normally review these within a week in most cases I've seen. Wow. And if you still have the penalty, they will send you a message on how you're breaking it. They'll give you some examples on what to change. The other thing is it could be as simple as you may have to wait until the next Penguin 6.0. You may have to wait until that data refresh, unfortunately. But as far as evergreen and everlasting, you want to take steps to change what you're doing so you're following the Google quality guidelines in the future.
Right. Okay. Good information. And I would always suggest too, these are some of the things too that an attorney doesn't need to spend all their attention on. They should have someone on their team that's tasked with checking their analytics, checking out some of this information and so on, or either outsourcing this to a company like yourself. So just really good information because, we really rely on our websites to draw traffic in and convert and so on. So, must know details. So, Chris, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me again.
Right, you're welcome. And I know people can find you at attorneyrankings.org, and on Twitter they can find you at attorneyranking. So just noting no S at the end there, at attorneyranking. Great. All right, thanks again, Chris. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.